You're listening to All Things 3D, where we talk about the world of fabricating, designing, and capturing in the third dimension.
Hey everybody, it's October 2nd, 2015. Mike, what are you doing? Where are you?
Well, I thought I'd take a little visit in a new little world called Van Gogh.
Van Gogh. Van Gogh, you mean like the artist Van Gogh?
Like the artist. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but I had an opportunity by our friends over at Sketchfab, Alban, if you remember. We've had him on, or Alba, we've had him on a couple of times.
Yeah.
Well, they did a little article, which I will bring up a little later, that talked about this, I mean, what can I say, stunning 3D artist. So
Wow.
I talked with him and I said, I want to bring that into my world. And using the NEODiVR, which works with iPhone 6 Plus, which is what I have, I am now enjoying this new little world. But, you know,
yeah.
Let me see. Let me see if there's anything under the bed here.
Wow.
Hang on. Hang on. No, not yet.
What an amazing demo.
I mean, it is like being in his bedroom. It is super.
On an iPhone 6. You could turn your iPhone 6 into a VR headset and go and be Van Gogh now.
Not only a VR headset, but as I call it, the environmental awareness VR system that allows you to move around in these systems. So I've put obstacles in my way so I can't get to the window, but essentially I can go look out the window, which I think you're all looking through as well. I can also turn around. Oh, there's a wall there. He's got a small room. Let's see if we can go out this door here. Oh, well, that's enough for my little world. And, however, we'll talk about the artist who did this and a little bit about my conversion process and then my whirlwind tour to MedX and the Shriners.
What happened to your ear? Did the VR spill over into real life, or?
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, well. Okay, well, on that note, Chris, why don't you lead us in? We have a guest crasher today.
Yes, we do.
I'm pretty excited to hear about because they've done something fascinating. It was interesting. I wanted to talk about that in a previous show, and I'm glad I didn't because I found out their architectural firm had a lot to do with it. Okay, I'll give it to you, and I'll take off this thing and join the real world.
We have a special guest today as our guest crasher, Monika. It's Wittig?
Wittig, yeah.
Wittig. It sounds just like it's spelled. Monika Wittig from Stanford, right?
Well, in part, yes. So I'm partially with Stanford. That's how I know Mike. I'm also newly now with the University of Colorado in Denver at InWorks, a new innovation initiative. And the project itself that you're going to show is something I've done with my company, LAN Live Architecture Network.
Awesome. And you are here to tell us about the latest project that has something to do with the human form meets automated building.
Yeah, well, it's an example here in Colorado in a very small mining town right next to the resort town of Vail, Colorado. They actually have a really advanced fabricator in their small little 10-block town that does CNC milling and a lot of 3D printing. They heard about us here in Boulder doing all kinds of digital design and fabrication, so we kind of teamed up with a lot of local entities up there, and my organization, LAN, took on the design responsibilities. And what we basically tried to do was to work with a tiny budget to create outdoor public restrooms that really kind of took a spin on the usual restroom. They looked into purchasing kind of the module precast concrete ones, figured out that's a lot of money, and turned to us to do something more unique with less money. So let's see, I could share the screen, or if you have any. Yeah.
Now you remember, yeah, go ahead and share your screen. Now you remember, Monika, I had told you that I worked for an architectural firm. I also headed up their 3D visualization. And one of the things that one of the stars, I guess, of the firm, one of the younger guys, he was in charge of creating kind of an organic type rest area. I apologize for my military background. I called it a latrine, and you almost shot daggers at me. I'm sorry, a modern restroom. But he had something, and I wish I had some images of it, because we actually turned that into an Unreal first-person team map, which we thought was kind of funny. Oh, well, that's
Can you see my screen now?
We can see ourselves. There we go. Yeah, now we can see.
An Unreal, you turned your workplace into an Unreal tournament map, you're saying? So you...
well, not, but in this particular case, down in, if you ever go down to the Ventura, what do you call it, the rest area down by the beach, you'll actually see what I'm talking about. They're these very organic restrooms that come out of the sand. Well, he then took that and we built an Unreal map out of it.
Talk about a good way to release some workplace frustration.
Yep, we had a pretty good little technical group.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
You're in full screen now. Okay, so this is a little town, and that's about the extent of it. And so, you know, just they're kind of wise in the fact that they're turning to these newer technologies to kind of, you know, be a reason to put this on the map and have people drawn over from Vail. So a lot of mining history, and in a really simple concept, we just sort of wanted to create that feel related to mining, being sort of in a shaft, and using these two little pods, just 8x8s, with the concentration on one wall piece that's kind of unique. You know, we love the fabrication part, so for us it was really something to figure out how to, you know, minimize the material. I think I have some fabrication photos coming up. Those are the two pods there.
And those are real now. Those are not, those don't just exist on a computer anymore. They're actually really there. You've really built these.
They're absolutely there. This is not Photoshop.
Oh wow, these are beautiful.
Yeah, so they're kind of, you know, steel all the way around except for these wooden walls, with the idea that, you know, this thing should get touched, and over the years it's made so that you can still access the wood pieces, and this wood part could be rebuilt and reformed.
Wow. And they cut these, and how did they cut these? What was the software you used to design, and eventually what was the process used to build?
Yeah, we used Rhino and Grasshopper. So Grasshopper is giving us some of the parametric functionalities if we need to change the height, or we need to enter a different width for, you know, a thickness for the wood, or a different width, etc. So coming up eventually, okay, so here's a look at the model, and there's some 150 stacks. We were kind of told a few weeks into the process that they wanted to be able to assemble this on site with unskilled labor, and so it needed to be something that really was Lego style. How could we assemble it with a number of pieces, but the complexity of that assembling system needed to be accessible by anyone. So if you can see in the top left corner, there's a sheet of plywood, essentially a 4x8, and those pieces are nested edge to edge. So the strategy going in was how we could absolutely cut as little as possible.
Sure.
And so we're not cutting any of the edges. We're using the raw edge, and we're covering that up with a kind of, you know, the steel work on the finish. And then we matched the inner end to the outer of the next. So again, it was just one cut between between each piece. So that saved us a lot of fabrication time. Well, there you see even better. I should have switched earlier to an actual sheet layout.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the strategy. And then maybe what's not noticeable with your eyes, if I go back to a picture of two of them. Okay, so there's about 150 sheets per wall, and one is actually a reverse in two directions of the other wall. So these files that were generated were cut twice, and so let's say the wall on the right, we cut all of those pieces. The wall on the left are the very same pieces, even though it looks like a different geometry. It's just turned, it's flipped and rotated.
Ah, so they could actually interlock with each other, you're saying?
It's the reverse mirror. So so in that sense, they have less processing to do, and yet it looks like a different geometry. If that makes sense.
So one literally is a male and the other is a female, and they're restrooms, right? So.
Yeah. Well, there's that. There is that. But
yeah, where I'm going with this.
Of course, our illustrious co-host Chris would come up with that.
They just have to flip a few times to fit together, but in some format, a male and female, yes.
Wow. That's
Chris,
cool.
what are we going to do?
Yeah, and you have a person per scale, and you can see how beautiful. Wow, this is an amazing structure. So whereabouts can we find this? What the town? Remind us the town and whereabouts that town is.
Sure. The town is Minturn, M-I-N-T-U-R-N, and it's directly just outside of Vail. So it's kind of the original mining town that kind of Vail sprung up around. And actually, we were just informed this past month it's now on the short list for award by Cintas for best bathroom in America. So
whoa!
It's in the final 10, and you can help us. You
wow.
can send your vote if it's your favorite.
And where do we go to do that?
Guys.
I think, let me just double check the link. I think I sent it to Mike, but here we are.
Cintas.
Well, yeah, bestrestroom.com.
/US. I never thought I'd vote for the best restroom in the US. Here we are.
Here we are.
Awesome, Monika. Well, it's a great project, and I hope to check that out one day.
Yep, and I'll just lastly note this is LGM, and they're the ones that milled the wood that you're seeing in the wall. So part of the fabrication team.
Awesome, and they're located. Where are they located?
Also in Minturn.
Minturn. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
Bye, Monika.
Bye.
You can stay on, though, if you want, and help chatter with us. Okay, Chris, go on to the next item.
Okay, well, we've had a busy week. Obviously, it's our Friday episode. We're trying to churn and burn these pretty quick, and so I'll jump in. An item that happened last week, but we didn't get to cover it, is the beautiful Form 2 by Formlabs was released, so that was my pick for the week. Here it is. It's a little bit bigger build volume than the Form 1 Plus. Really fine resolution. It's got some nifty features with the cartridges and kind of keeps everything self-contained. And you can obviously find out more about it at formlabs.com. Lots of resins. They come in a preloaded cartridge. And yeah, I went ahead and ordered one.
Oh, yeah, actually, you told me that almost like, what, an hour after you bought it?
Or an hour after they came out. Yeah. So I've been in talks with them. They say they're planning on shipping these out in November is the plan. So I'll be looking for my Form 2 sometime in November, and I'll report back on how it goes.
Well, if you've got a link there or somebody there that you're talking to, have them come on. Let them talk about it. I haven't really pushed them on it, but I would love to have them on and kind of talk about this. I'll talk about it a little bit later. There was a person who was using a Form 1 Plus at MedX for medical that I'll go into briefly. But yeah, I think it is obviously a very exceptional printer, made better. For those of you who may already own one of these, they do have a, what would you call it, a coupon or a rebate. I think it's anywhere between $800 for the Form Plus and $400 if you've got the original Form 1, which is obviously better than nothing. I felt like this is almost a brand new unit. You know, that's what happens when you buy something. You don't expect anything. However, obviously, Formlabs is pretty cool in this respect, and they have offered a rebate like they did the last time when the Form Plus came out. So hats off to them. And so if you're interested in an excellent printer with a lot of support and some pretty good software. Not only did they come out with the 2, but their software has improved as well.
as Chris will find out soon. Lucky man. I guess I'm going to have to hang out with him a lot now. Okay, well, I'm going to go right into my next item. And, you know, obviously, I'm not a woman, but this month is, what do they call it? National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And with that being said, there is something that I found out about, oh gosh, earlier in the year, but there is a new type of 3D mammography system that the 3D is a little bit of a misnomer, and I will get into it a little bit. But essentially, imagine a CT scan miniaturized specifically for mammograms that provide a better surface, as you can see in the images here, detail. And this is very important because what happens is a lot of times something may be seen, then they have to come in. A lot of times they go through a traumatic biopsy just to find out it may have been a cyst or something else. And this way, they have found that, one, it prevents a lot of unknowns from creeping in, as well as provides a much better reading for the doctor. So they're expensive, but we're finding that more and more. And I think here on our central coast of California, I do believe, is it the one that I went to for mine, which I've forgotten the name of. So if it comes to me before we end the show, I'll mention it. But I think there are a couple locations here. They're being made available in other areas. Most insurances cover it. But, you know, if you have a loved one, you know, I think this is one of the leading causes of cancer for women, and it's very important. And it's nice to know that the technology that we're using, and I have another. Well, actually, they don't show it, but it's an interesting looking device. Obviously, it's form fitted. My wife indicates that mammograms are probably one of the worst. Well, they're very uncomfortable. So. Supposedly this is not only more comfortable from the aspect of form fitting, but also the risk of actual the x-rays that are normally used for this is about 20 to 30% less. So that's something else a lot of people have concerns with. So again, this is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is a 3D item I think a lot of people need to look at. If you go out to Wikipedia, there is a little article on tomosynthesis, which is a cousin of tomography, which is used for MRIs and CTs, and it goes through a lot of the information of how this new 3D mammogram works. So if you're interested in it and kind of geeky, go ahead and go out there. All right, Chris, back to you.
All right, back to now we're into the scanning section of the show, and I saw this on 3Ders.org. So thanks to 3Ders again for providing us some great coverage. Shapeways opens 10 3D scanning booths for 3D printed selfies in the Netherlands. So they apparently have opened some kind of self-scanner type booths where they are. And they've got a little video down here that you can see, but they have released a place to go, and for about $35, get yourself scanned, and then pay for a print, obviously, in full color on one of their SLS machines.
Hey, do you see what he's using there?
Yeah, pretty cool. Is that a structure?
It looks like a structure.
It looks like a structure. It feels like a structure. It must be a structure.
They're all over the place.
Yeah. So
damn
cool. Shapeways, you know, definitely moving forward, and very cool to offer. I think that's a huge. I think the whole portraiture market, or the mini caricature market, is definitely still in its infancy. So we'll see where they go.
Yeah, well, I hope it kind of catches on. As you know, I've done some 3D scanning, obviously with the structure sensor, and developed some add-ons for it to enhance it, which I'll talk a little bit more a little bit later. But I found that most people, except people like you, Chris, who enjoy being scanned, kind of shy away from it, especially adults. Children love it, but if you remember, when we were at the robotics expo that we had here locally, none of the adults wanted to get scanned. Kids loved it though. So hopefully they'll make it a little more private. Maybe that was the issue. All right, on to my next item. I saw this last night and I thought it was pretty cool. And again, thank you 3Ders by Tess. And actually there's a couple location and I actually got a hold of them. And the nice thing about staying up very late and working with people in other countries is you're awake when they're just getting up. So I wrote to them. I said, you know, I'm a little concerned about this. And what it is, it's Smart 3D Pixeolia. It looks like a turntable. Well, for the most part, it is a turntable, or at least that's how they was described here. But I'm glad they got a hold of me, because my experience with turntables in using photogrammetry is they do not work very well. Because why? Because I went ahead and tried that. And the reason for it, photogrammetry requires unique backgrounds. So what happens if you just rotate it, the background doesn't change. So there's not enough, what do you want to call it, changes or uniqueness in the different images in order to provide the mathematics necessary to stitch and create the 3D model from all the photogrammetry issue. So I thought, oh, okay, if that's what they're doing, good luck. Well, they got back with me immediately. And if you look in this image here, you can see how it actually works. And hats off to them. And then the most important thing, this is going out to Kickstarter later in the month. They were hoping to get it out earlier, but it looks like it's going to be later in the month. This is more of a, what are we going to call it? Kind of a clock. So that's an arm. And it rotates around the object versus the actual platform turning. So that way the actual phone rotates around the object, which is ideal and ingenious. Actually, I have done it, and it's really a pain in photogrammetry to go around an object. So I really like this idea. It's made to work with, what was that Autodesk application that was very popular? Do you remember?
Memento.
Well, we know of a Memento, and I told them about 123D Catch. Remember that?
Oh, there you go.
Which is available for Android as well as iOS. So this is obviously going to be multi-platform available. But I also told them, look into Memento, because that's what we did an interview. However, now thinking about it being a mobile device, Memento is on the desktop. But you can take your 3D capture images into Memento and clean them up. So a 1-2 punch there, Autodesk and this product. And now the kicker. They told me it's about $120.
That ain't bad at all for an automated system.
And not only can you use it for this, but obviously since it's a device that rotates around the object, you can use it for slow motion video. So if you wanted to use it for eBay or just capture the details of an object, it can be used for that. It also does interval recording. So a lot of neat features in this thing. They talk about in one of the articles that part of the process, you know, they used graphene. And I don't, you know, you can go back and read the article. There's something about the sensors have graphene in them. So that's kind of an interesting thought. But oh well, you can go out and read this article as well as go out to their website. There's not a lot of detail yet, and we will have them on in the next couple of weeks before they release it. But, you know, as I said earlier in one of our episodes, 3D scanning is the 3D printing of 2015. There's all kinds of personal 3D scanners out there. Obviously, we know about the structure sensor. There's the bevel that we both are going to be getting soon. I actually talked to their CEO and kind of begging and pleasing, but he told me, nope, we're not going to have any for November. I was hoping to have one. So if you're hoping to see one sooner than later, it might be later. And then there's a new product coming out pretty soon that is a line laser scanner, again, using a phone that I'm very interested in, and they'll be on in 2 weeks as well. So all kinds of neat little personal 3D scanning functionality that's coming out very soon. So again, here we go. Kind of cool. All right, Chris, on to your next item.
Awesome. Yeah, so now we're getting into the VR section of our show. And
yes, VR corner in a round room.
VR corner in a round room. This is coming to us from roadtovr.com. So again, thanks to these reporters.
And I think they have a podcast, which is pretty cool. The guy does a lot of great interviews. So if you want to listen to another podcast besides ours, make sure you listen to ours first. But go grab theirs. Pretty
This
neat.
article dated from yesterday, October 1st, is the first Oculus Rift has rolled off the production line at Oculus Connect 2015. Key members of the teams responsible for designing and manufacturing the consumer Oculus Rift took the stage to talk about the process of creating a headset for mass production. It was revealed that the first headset has already rolled off the production line. So they are rolling the first Oculus Rifts off. So that's good news. Anybody that has already pre-ordered one or is anticipating the release might be happy to know that they're in production. Now,
I don't think they've been taking orders for these yet, have they?
You know, I actually haven't heard about the pre-orders. I thought that my understanding is that they weren't. They were going to hold off on pre-orders because of kind of their past experience with it. But
well, and plus they're venturing into the consumer market. Before, if you remember, it was a developer's kit. So I hadn't heard that. So who knows, maybe they'll open it up by November or December. As you're aware of, they're not going to have it available, but who knows, maybe they'll surprise us. It's kind of interesting they said it rolled off. But the rumors are, and they have indicated that it won't be available till after this year, first quarter of 2016. I think they may also be coming out with their hand grips, as you know, I'm very excited about as well. But there's another little thing I'm going to talk about. If you look down at my little screen here, you know, Microsoft said, hey, you're not the only ones that can do VR. Obviously, we've talked about the HoloLens, but they have an announcement. I think it's on the 9th of October. Now, they're going to be, I think, well, the rumors are really strong. They're going to be coming out with the Surface Pro 4 that's going to blow the iPad Pro out of the water. Supposedly it's going to have a 4K screen, be slimmer, but those are all rumors, but supposedly that's going to be an announcement. And someone said that this is going to be an announcement as well, which is, I guess, the Microsoft VR kit in order to, I wouldn't say compete, maybe work along with Google Cardboard, but mainly for the Lumia style phones. And I don't know if you're aware of it, a lot of the Lumia style phones are very inexpensive. So maybe we can see this, as you may have been aware or may not. Google just announced earlier this week their new Nexus 6 line. And they have two of them, a smaller one and then a big one like they had before, the 6X and a 6P, if I remember correctly. One's made by, who's it made by? Huawei, and the other one is made, I want to say, HTC, but don't hold me to that. So we got two from them, and then obviously Windows is coming out with something, so it's like boom, boom, boom. It seems like there's something new every year. However, if this is the case, another cute little VR headset, it'll be just in time for something that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Okay, so kind of cool. You can find out more out at Engadget on this. And actually, it's been everywhere. In fact, I went out to the location that they found it, and they've already pulled it. So again, another leak that I guess Microsoft wasn't intending anybody to see. Or who knows? Maybe it was just another marketing scheme. We never know anymore. Okay, Chris, back to you.
All right. And now is the special part of our show called The Print Whisperer, where I can give you tips and tricks on your 3D printing mastery, on your adventure towards mastery, which we're all is a moving target. Mastery, you never fully master anything. It's a practice. So I'm going to clue you in on my journey. My tip for the week is Lulzbots. You know, I have a couple Lulzbots here in the office, and I use them every day and love these printers. I've got a Taz 5 and a Lulzbot Mini in the back room, and both of them kind of perform different functions in my day-to-day operations. But one thing that's come to us in the last week has been Cura, the new Cura 17.10 Lulzbot edition was released. And I can highly recommend it for anybody that's out there kind of experimenting with different slicers, different print drivers, or print software. Cura has been one of my staples, and it's gotten more and more and more refined. But the Lulzbot Edition is probably the easiest to get up and running. So if you are looking for slicing software or control software for your printer, I highly recommend heading out to Lulzbot's website, lulzbot.com, hit the support tab, and you can go download Cura for free. So you can hit on Cura software, and they have Debian, Ubuntu, and Fedora versions, Windows 7, 8, and a Mac OS 10. So most computing platforms are compatible with the Cura free Lulzbot edition. One of the things that's really nice about this new Lulzbot edition, 17.10, is it's got profiles built in for every material you could imagine. I would say almost every material you could imagine, ranging from beginner to advanced to expert. And I've been printing some pretty cool stuff out of T-glaze lately. Have been having a lot of success with T-glaze on my Lulzbot Mini. So printing some parts for some of my clients that need some real strong parts, print a lot of nylon. So that's my tip for the day, is head out to lulzbot.com and download Cura.
Excellent, Mr. Print Whisperer. Okay, well, as you know, I've changed my little section where I rant and rave about all the stuff I've done to spelunking in the tech cave, because if you ever, actually, you may have seen part of it, but one day I'll run the 360 camera in here. It literally is kind of in the bowels of my my home. It's my studio as well as my haven for all my tech stuff. So behind me, if you take a look, is an article that this is how I actually came up and did the VR, NEODiVR demo. There was an art spotlight by Sketchfab, and the gentleman's name is Ruslan and Sokolavsky or something of that nature. And again, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. He's from Israel, and he does freelancing, mainly in 3D animation and corporate movies. And he's the one that actually created this. And as you can see there, there's the basics that he created, probably just in order to create that shot. But here's another sample of it. Here's another sample. But the thing that was very interesting is that he based this upon a painting called Bedrooms in, is that Arles or Arles? And then he obviously modified it a little bit and then created very realistic textures, as you can see in the bed here. And then, if you notice, he used different floors, so he really had a good time modifying it. And one of the things that he's done with this, other than this demo that I'm working on that I will have published soon, is that if you go out to Google Play, if you've got an Android device currently, you can get these live wallpapers. And these live wallpapers allow you to kind of put them on your desktop, and they change, but they rotate angles. They're really kind of cool. And it's actually pretty neat. So, and I think they're like 99 cents or something like that. And then here's a little, I'll go out to Sketchfab, and you can actually go out there and play with his little model. There you go. And then you can rotate it and move around in it. So as mentioned, if you don't have access to the NEODiVR system to actually be inside it, you can go out there and play with it out at Sketchfab. My version is coming soon. I want to thank Ruslan for making it available, and it looks like we're going to be doing a few other things, and I'll show you in a minute what else he has. And let's keep going. So this was done by Bart. Thank you, Bart, for turning him on to me. It actually is pretty cool. So here's the Play Store. Look at all these things. This guy is prolific. Yeah, look at all the stuff that he's done, essentially. And again, a lot of it's 99 cents or free. The guy is amazing. I look forward to working with him more and creating more immersive. We're going to do something special for Halloween. He's got something here, the Halloween Cemetery. I'm going to convert into NEODiVR land, and it'll scare us to death. Woo! And then see what else we have here. We kind of talked about, remember the Real Zen garden? Well, he also converted that into one of these wallpapers that he's created. So really interesting guy. We've had some chats in the conversion process. Obviously an excellent 3D artist. So I'm glad that I met him and look forward to working with him more and seeing some of the NEODiVR stuff come out with it. Okay, so I'll close all those off and then talk a little bit about my trip. Well, no, kidding, Chris. This guy may or may not look familiar. There's a couple of things I wanted to show you with this. One, I used the new Apple iPhone 6s Plus because, as you know, I'm developing quite a few NEODi mount type accessories for it, and one of it is to create what I call the NEODi mount producer, which is a light sound system. I wish I would have had it on this day. However, I'll go ahead and bring it up, but this was an interview I did with somebody. Do we have some sound there? Yeah, it's kind of low. Can you hear it, Chris?
No.
Free software, Libre
Yeah.
Innovation,
How about now?
open source hardware company. And as I mentioned, we manufacture the Lulzbot line of 3D printers. I have here with me the Lulzbot Mini, and the other model that we offer is the Lulzbot TAS 5.
So this is with the iPhone 6.
Yes,
I
sir.
have a little add-on that allows me to use the 1/8 inch
All right,
record
so here we're looking
jack
at the
to
Lulzbot
an
Mini.
XLR, but the
This machine
quality
retails for
one, it didn't allow me to be part of the
It offers auto
conversation.
bed
So if you
leveling,
notice, you can't really
hexagonal
hear me.
metal hot end,
You can hear
and
him.
is
So I was
just a
able to
really
still use
reliable
my broadcast
out-of-the-box
mic,
and
or
printing
I
in
should
about
say my
15
interview mic
minutes,
with him.
solid
So
3D printer.
one of the reasons I'm developing my device is so I can still have two inputs to do this kind of thing.
One of the things that I've realized
This
in
is
the
in
past,
1080p on it.
especially one of the reasons why my
As you can
co-host
see, the
Chris,
OIS
if
is
you're
working
listening,
fairly good.
bought one of these is because one,
But
not only do you
this
have
looks
a
familiar to you,
rock-solid
right,
printer,
Chris?
but you provide a great deal of support.
Chris,
And
can you hear me?
provide a lot of
Yes.
tutorials,
Okay.
and you actually
So,
I'm listening to
I'll-
you on there, and I was trying to
really
listen to you there, and then
worthwhile.
Well, I do
So be
plan to
aware
put these
of,
out on YouTube
printing
as
is
separate little
only part of it.
videos
You don't have
over the
the
weekend
experience,
so
doesn't
that
matter
you
how good
can
your 3D
share them
printer
as
is,
well.
you're still gonna
There's a
have
couple
stuff
of other
that
people
sucks.
there.
You do a great
Another
job of making sure it
notable
doesn't
printer,
suck.
which
So
the name
I'll give you
escapes
back
me
the
right
mic.
now, other than Lulzbot. But one of the reasons there, obviously,
I wanna
is
say
to
thank
show
you
the
for the kind
potential
words.
of
It's very nice
using
of
the
you to say we've
Lulzbot
worked very
for
hard to not only provide a quality
fabricating
product, but also
tangibles
quality
in the
customer service
medical world,
experience. So thank you so
which
much
is
for
why they
the
were
kind
showing
words.
off.
We
There was
appreciate the
another
feedback.
company there. Again, the name escapes me, sadly,
Okay,
and
perfect.
which I'll have a video out as
So
well.
what
That
brings
was
us to
an
Medicine
impressive
Next?
printer
Well,
too.
we're more than
It
happy
was
to come
about
down here and talk a little bit
$3,100,
about
but
the
a huge
applications of
build
3D
platform,
printing in the
and you
medical
probably
field.
already familiar
What
with
I'm
it. But
printing with the
so
Lulzbot Mini right now
he was
is a model
obviously
of a
very
knee,
informative.
which gives a great
Lots of
anatomical
attention there at
view of what
MedX.
the knee
As you
looks
know,
like in
I
most
was there
parts.
as well.
And this
I was
wants to
showing
make
off
our
OR
presence known in the
surgery,
medical
which
field as
was
it
a
pertains to
nice
3D
little
printing.
VR
It's been a great
experience.
event, lots of really
And
nice people, and Stanford has been
yeah, I
really,
don't
really
actually
great
have a
and really,
demo,
really nice in
but
helping us get our message
it was
out.
pretty
So,
neat.
many thanks.
And I will just kind of terminate that for now. And like I said, I'll push that up there. Thank you, Chris. This is the prototype of the NEODiVR Loop. It only has one glass. The other one's coming in today. But in testing it, it already works well. I'm working with a company to come up with that sticky material for the back that we talked about. So essentially it adheres to your glass without marring it. So it's coming along really nicely. And let's see, one last thing, but I've already forgotten it. Oh, I also went to Shriners. And was that a heartwarming experience? As you know, we talked about it before. I have donated my scanning products to them so that they can use the handheld 3D scanner based upon the structure sensor to scan children or other. In fact, some of them are also teenagers that have been burned severely. We're also looking at using it for prosthetics. But more importantly, they don't have to be prodded or touched. And I didn't really know how accurate it would be, but once I found out that the process that they go through there, because obviously they have to be very careful, is very inaccurate. Even without the lens system, the accuracy is more than enough, and they'll be able to take this remotely, because a lot of times they have to go to Mexico and other third world countries, and now they'll be able to scan, send those back, have the conforming clothing made and ready for the person, because remember, they have to fly them in. So everything will be prepared. They don't have to do anything while they're here. So that's the direction we're going. I also showed NEODiVR, and I had a physical therapist already see the potential of using that, creating a virtual physical therapy room, so that they don't have to leave their room. A lot of them can't, but it allows them to get up and start doing things and have incentive by actually moving to the VR objects that are in there. And so we're going to be looking at the possibilities there. So yeah, I left there for the last few days on the tiptoes. It was a very glowing experience. So
Awesome.
yeah. So that's kind of it for me. That's about it.
Yeah, and then next week, or in 2 weeks,
2 weeks,
we celebrate our 2-year anniversary of All Things 3D. It's been a beautiful journey.
It has been lots of fun, lots of people. I sent out the calendar request yesterday. We've already got Fred Call coming in. We have John Scholl coming in, if you remember, for the head of Enable, which has obviously gotten a ton of attention. So I'm glad that he's going to be on board. We've got Eric from Ultimaker, who is, he calls him the CEO, but found out that's not the CEO as we know it. He's the Chief Evangelist Officer, but he actually is one of the founders. We've had him on several times. So around the world again. It looks like Aaron might join us from India. You've been talking about him. He may have a special announcement coming soon, but lots of people. So on that note, what are we? Oh, it's 10:20. We kind of missed the boat a little bit, but
we had a guest crasher, so it's okay. And we look forward to seeing all of our wonderful listeners next week on another episode of All Things 3D.
Bye.